Hello, welcome to Chapter 6, Lesson 5. So we're going to predict two things we're going to learn about the lesson. We're doing Algebra Properties, page 473. So we're going to learn, why the order two numbers are added or multiplied does not change the answer. Another thing is which numbers it says in which numbers that are grouped when added or multiplied does not change the answer. So this is Angelica and Nadi are baking cookies for a bake sale fundraiser. Angelica baked 6 sheets with 10 cookies, and Nadi baked 10 sheets with 6 cookies each. This is how many total cookies did Angelica make? Well, we're going to multiply it because we did it 6 times in 10, so it's going to be 60. And then this time we have 10 sheets with 6 cookies each, so we're going to multiply that, and we're also going to get 60. So what do we notice? Angelica and Nadi baked the same amount of cookies. So what do these exercises suggest about the order in which factors are multiplied? Order does not matter. So we're going to be learning about properties, and we have 3 different properties we'll be learning today: the commutative, associative, and identity. The commutative is the order in which 2 numbers are added or multiplied. So make sure we know this is only for addition or multiplication. It does not change their sum or product. So if you notice, we have 7 plus 9 equals 9 plus 7, and 4 times 6 equals 6 times 4. So the order doesn't matter, that you're going to get the same answer. Associative is the way in which 3 numbers are grouped when they are added or multiplied does not change the sum or product. Our main thing is grouped. And same thing, added or multiplied. So if they're grouped, that means we're using parentheses or brackets. That is a grouping. And then some of the orders change, but the product does stay the same. Identity, the sum of an addend and 0 is the addend. So when we're adding, if you're adding anything by 0, that's the identity property. And for multiplications, when the product of a factor is 1 in the factor. So whenever we multiply anything by 1, we're going to be using the identity property. Just know that for subtraction and division, those answers will be different. So they will not be equivalent. So properties are statements that are true for any number. The expressions 6 times 10 and 10 times 6 are called equivalent expressions. Just know this here, this little note, I also put it in the homework because that's what you're going to be referring to the most. This is determine whether two expressions are equivalent. If so, tell what property is applied. If not, explain why. So we have 15 plus 5 plus 8, and we have 15 plus 5 plus 8. They are equivalent because this is all addition, and it's all the same numbers. It's just in a different, it's just the groups are different, but it's all the same numbers. So they are equivalent, and if they're grouped, we're going to be using the associative. Number 2, 20 minus 12 minus 3. And then 20 minus 12 minus 3, but the grouping is different. But we have to remember we have to do parentheses first. So 20 minus 12 is 8, and then 8 minus 3 is 5. And then this is 12 minus 3 is 9, and 20 minus 9 equals 11. So the expressions are not equivalent because the associative property is not true for subtraction. So we have to remember these phrases here because this is the phrase we're going to want to use when answering our questions. Example 3 is determine whether the two expressions are equivalent. If so, tell what property is applied. If not, explain why. 34 plus 0 and 34. The expressions are equivalent by the identity property. That is true because the identity property when adding is the number plus 0. Example 4, 20 divided by 5 and 5 divided by 20. So we have to remember these properties only work for multiplication and addition. So the property that would be used for this one, there's no grouping, no identity, so it's going to leave us with the commutative. But it says the expressions are not equivalent because the commutative property does not hold for division. So we have to remember these phrases and sentences. So go ahead and try A and B. Tell us, are they equivalent and what property is used? So for A, we have 5 times 6 times 3, and the 5 times 6 times 3. It's multiplication, so yes, they are equivalent. By the associative property. And for B, these are division, and our properties do not work for division, so not equivalent. And this is going to be commutative because there's no grouping, no identity. Commutative does not hold for division. This is example 5. In a recent season, the Kansas Jayhawks had 15 guards, 4 forwards, and 3 centers on the roster. Write 2 equivalent expressions using the associative property that can be used to find the total number of players on the roster. So if it's the associative, that means grouped, so automatically that's going to tell me to use parentheses. So I can say we had 15 guards, 4 forwards, and 3 centers. I can also group this differently and say we have 15 plus 4 forwards and 3 centers. So I use the associative property with grouping, but I use the same numbers in addition, so they are going to be equivalent. So go ahead and try C. So we're using the commutative, that's no grouping, no identity. So it says Brandy earned $7 babysitting and $12 cleaning out the garage. Write 2 equivalent expressions using the commutative property. So I have $7 plus $12, and that's also equal to $12 plus $7. Example 6. The area of a triangle can be found using the expression 1/2 times b times h, where b is the base and h is the height. Find the area of the triangle on the left. So the height is going to be here, and the base is going to be on the bottom. So if I have 1/2 base times height, that means 1/2, my base is going to be 15, and my height is going to be 12 feet. I do know 2 and 12 can simplify, so my 12 is going to become a 6. So 15 times 6 is going to be 90. 90 square feet, or feet squared. Go ahead and try D. So D, it says Vicky earned $6 an hour while working 11 hours over the weekend. So if I made $6 and I did that 11 times, I'm going to be multiplying that by 11. 6 times 11. And she put 1/3 of it in her savings. So I'm going to use a shortcut I used in the previous one. My 3 cannot simplify with 11, but my 3 can simplify with 6. So 3 goes away and my 6 becomes a 2. So how much did she put in her account? She put $22. But that's the end of the lesson, so thank you for watching. And just remember, for my class, the homework, I did put the table on the side. That way to help us know which property to use. But yes, thank you for watching.